morning this morning, and welcome to this is an impossible stat, and it has led me down a rabbit hole of conspiracy edition of the OHIO podcast. Do us a big favor if you don't mind. Smash the like button and make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Let me know what you think about what I think down in the comments section below. We're celebrating 2 years. Not on this podcast. We're much older than that. We're celebrating 2 years of not getting an offensive holding flag thrown against any of our opponents in Big Ten play for Ohio State. That's right. Ohio State has gone 17 straight Big Ten games without a single opponent getting caught for offensive holding. Not a single opponent in conference play has ever held an Ohio State defensive player, according to the officials, in those 17 games. This is an impossible stat. We all know it. We've all heard it. The experts talk about it. Former players talk about it. Officials talk about it. There is literally holding on every single play in football. We all get it. We're not shocked by the fact that they don't want to throw a flag for close holding, because they literally would be throwing them for every play. I get it. But you can't sit there with a straight face and tell me with a straight face that there hasn't been an egregious holding call that should have been made against the Buckeyes in the past 2 seasons in conference play. You mean to tell me that Jack Sawyer, JT Tuimoloau, Caden Curry, Kenyatta Jackson, and a host of defensive tackles that have come through this program in the last 2 years have not been held egregiously enough on a pass rush to warrant the yellow hanky being thrown? That is a conspiracy, and I'm not the only one who's starting to believe it. In fact, this conspiracy goes much, much deeper, and it's not just holding calls. The Big Ten officiating crews, for some reason, have been told to stuff the yellow hankies in their pockets. Look at this stat for this season. Are you ready for this? These are the rankings. I'm about to show you the rankings of penalties against, okay? Meaning, where does your team rank when it comes to how many penalties your opponents are getting called for during a game? Are you ready for this? Here we go. This is the Big Ten, all Big Ten teams in college football. Hello. No team in the Big Ten is in the top 69 in college football for penalties against. How is that even possible? You mean to tell me that every team that plays against the Big Ten team somehow just doesn't get caught breaking the rules of the game? Well, I'll tell you how this stat is possible. It's because you play 9 conference teams and 9 conference games, and those Big Ten officials in those 9 conference games literally don't call penalties. The main one is holding. It's not just an Ohio State problem. Although Ohio State is way down at the bottom at 134 in college football, Iowa's the worst at 136, and it's only like not even half a flag difference between Ohio State and Iowa. Only 4 Big Ten teams are in the top 100. In Michigan State, Maryland, Illinois, and Minnesota. It is egregious what the Big Ten officiating crews are doing. And I get it. We don't want to slow the game down. We don't want to call a bunch of penalties, but we'll take 500 minutes to review stupid plays during the game. Oh, let's take another commercial break so we can review this one too. It is absolutely asinine what is happening with officiating. I'm not one to complain about officiating. I'll be honest. Over on Patreon, Chris's recent videos, What Drives Me Wild, and it was about the officiating. And I'm like, oh, geez, give me a break. Are we really going to go down that path? And then I fell down the rabbit hole. Chris has got a great point. Chris has got a great point. You don't have this without there being some kind of corruption or malpractice or complete stupidity on the part of the officiating crews in this conference. You mean to tell me a conference that literally has 18 schools that have contracts through television networks that give each school somewhere between the ballpark of $20 to $80 million a year. A conference that's overseeing 18 schools that's making that kind of money can't invest in getting officials to do a job that even high school officials are doing a better job at. This is ridiculous. This cannot happen. Absolutely cannot happen. We don't want to interject ourselves into the game. There's a lot of theories here that as to why they wouldn't throw penalty flags but at this rate, that rate. Now, I get it. I'm not going to be sexist. I try very hard to not be sexist. I've only seen one time in all the Big Ten games that I have watched where one female official threw a flag. One time. In a male, masculine, dominated, ego-driven sport, I'm concerned some of these women, they put that flag in their pocket and they ain't throwing it because they don't want to get yelled at. I don't know. Maybe they need TG to do some business. TG, she could officiate football. She would get them women whipped into shape. She would be throwing some flags. She would be about that business, okay? So I'm not being sexist. I'm not trying to say that that's the main issue, but it is something I have noticed. I think there's a lot of officials in the Big Ten who shouldn't be doing this job. Either cognitively or physically can't do this job. And that means in order to get guys who are in shape, guys who are smart, guys who know the game, you're going to have to pay more. Absolutely going to have to pay more. And the Big Ten can 100% afford that. Because this is unacceptable. Absolutely 100% unequivocally unacceptable. This right here needs to be screamed from the rooftops. There needs to be articles every single day on major media platforms. There needs to be major podcasters talking about this from their teams. Every one of these schools, except for maybe Minnesota, Illinois, Maryland, I guess, should be screaming from the rooftop about how egregious this is. Unbelievable. It is literally impossible to go 2 years in Big Ten play and not have a holding call thrown against one of your opponents. It's impossible. Yet somehow here we are. And we still won a national championship last year, and we're still number one in the country. I don't get it. I refuse to not get it. I'm not going to listen to excuses about this. There isn't a good one. There's not one good excuse about this. Unbelievable. Today's verse of the day comes from Mark 8:36. For what shall it profit a man if he shall gain the whole world and lose his soul? Great question to think about. Great question. Well, I don't know what you all think, but I would love to know what you think about what I think. Put your comments down in the comment section below. Let's have a discussion about this egregious stat.